Hi friends, it's Teacher Ulrich here. Welcome to a brand new lesson from Wordly Wise Book 5. Today we will start with Lesson 12. Let's begin with Day 1. For today's lesson, you will need Word List 12. Today we will talk about the words and their different meanings. Remember that some words have more than one meaning. Some can have 3 or 4 meanings. It all depends on how you use them. To assist you with these meanings, you can familiarize yourself with word sorts or word types, like nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, place words, those kind of things. Great. So let's start with Lesson 12's word list. The first word is convalesce. Convalesce, here we can see how to spell it. Convalesce. Convalesce has a verb meaning. To convalesce is to get back health and strength after an illness. After the operation on my knee, I will convalesce at home. A synonym for convalesce is recover. Have you ever had an operation or a bad illness? How long did it take you to convalesce? Great. Let's say the word out loud. Convalesce. Convalesce. Great. The next word is dedicate. Dedicate. Now, to dedicate has 3 verb meanings. To dedicate is to set aside for a certain purpose. My parents dedicate part of their income to saving for my college education. So they dedicate some of their income, some of their money. In school, you will see a dedicated area for doing certain things. This area is dedicated for reading. It is set aside for a certain purpose, for reading. The second verb meaning, to dedicate, is to devote to a serious purpose. So you can dedicate your attention to something. Madame Curie dedicated her life to science. She dedicated her life, her time. She devoted to a serious purpose. The third verb meaning, to dedicate, is to name, address, or set aside as an honor. The authors dedicated the book to their 2 children. So they addressed the book to their 2 children. They dedicated it to them. If you win something, a competition, and you get a chance to speak, you can say, I dedicate this victory to my parents for helping me so much. You can use it like that. A lot of the times when you listen to music, you will hear the artist who's singing says, I dedicate this song to everyone who is feeling sad. I dedicate this song to everyone who wants to party, woo! Something like that. The next word is dictate. Dictate. Now, to dictate has a verb meaning. To dictate is to give orders, to command. The law dictates that children attend school until they are 16. Dictate. To command, to give orders. The second verb meaning, to dictate, is to say aloud while To say aloud while another writes down the words. So to dictate. I dictated a letter to my little brother, and he wrote down every word I said. So to dictate is to say what someone should write down. Dictator is a different form of the word. Dictator is the name of a person who has complete control over a country. A person who is obeyed without question. Now today there aren't so many dictators still left. Here and there are some. Let me show you some dictators of the past. This was Benito Mussolini. He was the Italian dictator during the Second World War. And this, of course, is Adolf Hitler. He was a German dictator. Hitler ruled Germany as a dictator from 1933 to 1945. Can you think of a name of a dictator that lives today? Think North Korea. Belarus also has a dictator president. The next word is exasperate. Exasperate. Now, to exasperate is to make angry, to annoy. So you usually exasperate someone. The girl is exasperating her mother. She is making her mother angry. She is annoying her. My brother exasperates my parents because he uses his phone so much. So exasperate, that's a synonym for annoy, irritate. Exasperating is a different form of the word with an adjective meaning. We use the word exasperating to describe something or someone who is very annoying. This is an exasperating girl. Waiting in long lines to enter the stadium before the game can be quite exasperating. So waiting in long lines can be exasperating. What do you find to be exasperating? When the Wi-Fi is down for no good reason, it can be exasperating, yes? The next word is notable. Notable. Notable has an adjective meaning, which is we use this word to describe something which deserves attention, something that is outstanding. Outstanding, terrific, great. Those are synonyms for notable. Michelle Obama was one of the most notable first ladies to ever occupy the White House. This is Michelle Obama. She apparently was very notable. She wrote this book. This book was very notable because it was the #1 New York Times bestseller. Wow, that's a big deal in America. Next, it's overdue. Overdue. Let's say it out loud. All the words we should say out loud. Overdue. Now, overdue has an adjective meaning. We use the word overdue to describe something which comes later than expected or needed. The bus from Boston is overdue, so it came later than expected or needed. The second adjective meaning, we use this word to describe things which are unpaid when owned. Unpaid. So your bills can be overdue. If you do not pay for your car payment is overdue. Look at this picture. This man returns a book to the library, but it's 229 years overdue. He must be from the past. Your schoolwork can be overdue also. Later than what was needed. You're overdue. The next word is overthrow. Overthrow has a verb meaning. To overthrow is to end the rule of, to defeat by using force. If we overthrow the king, who will take his place? Have a look at this. In the 18th century, rebels overthrew the French monarchy. They brought it to an end with force, as you can see. Overthrew is the past participle. It's the past tense word. So they overthrew the French monarchy. Let's overthrow the French monarchy, they probably said during the time. But today, that's what, 300 years ago? So they already overthrew the French monarchy. The Polish people finally overthrew the communist government that had been in power for more than 40 years. Overthrew also, or overthrow, also has a noun meaning. It's the name of the action of overthrowing. Countries sometimes attempt an overthrow of their ruler. So sometimes countries attempt an overthrow of their leader. So that has to do with bringing a ruler, a king, a dictator to an end. You overthrow them. Next, it's penetrate. Penetrate. To penetrate is to pierce. Pierce is a synonym for penetrate. Luckily, the piece of glass Irma stepped on did not penetrate her foot. So you can take a knife and it will hurt if you penetrate the skin. But don't. Be careful. To penetrate is to pierce. And it will bleed. I did not penetrate, so it won't bleed. I'm not going to penetrate my skin. The second verb for penetrate is to pass into or through. Very little light penetrated the dense forest. So the trees are so thick, light cannot go through it. Light cannot penetrate it. This guy penetrated the paper by punching through it. Boosh! Great. The next word is portrait. Portrait is the name of a drawing or a painting or a photograph of a person, especially the face. So that is a portrait. So it could be a picture, a painting or a drawing of a person's face. That's their portrait. The famous portrait known as the Mona Lisa is in the Louvre in Paris. Louvre. Not sure how to say that. Louvre, maybe. It's a French word. So this is the famous portrait known as the Mona Lisa. Have you heard of it? Of course. The next word is rebel. Rebel. Now, rebel has different pronunciations, two different pronunciations. Rebel is the name of a person who refuses to obey orders or the law. If the rebels continue to gain popular support, they will be a serious threat to the government. So rebels can sometimes overthrow a government. It happens all the time, especially in Africa. Like I showed you the picture of the French Revolution. Now, rebels overthrew the government. Rebel also has a verb meaning, but this word we pronounce differently. It's rebel, not rebel. So rebels, if they do what rebels do, they rebel. To rebel is to refuse or accept control by others. I rebel against my teachers. Please don't. So you are a rebel if you rebel, if you refuse to accept control by others. The small children rebelled when their parents told them to go to bed. They rebelled. Rebellious is a different form of the word. Rebellious is an adjective which we use to describe someone who fights against another's control. Disobedient is a synonym for rebellious, disobedient. Grounding is a punishment parents often use for rebellious children. See, rebellious describes the children. How are the children? They are rebellious. They don't listen to anyone. Are you rebellious? Are you a rebel? Do you rebel? Rebellion. Rebellion is another form of the word. Rebellion is the name of the open position to another's control. Open opposition. Opposition is the competitors, the opposite side. Open opposition to another's control. It's the rebellion. The idea of year-round school made some students think of rebellion. So the students would openly say, we do not want year-round school. They rebel against it. They make a rebellion. It's the group who verbalizes, who says what they rebel against. Here we can see some rebels. Rebels usually rebel against the government. The next word is restrict. Restrict. To restrict is to keep within certain limits. To restrict. To keep within certain limits. We restrict this pathway to people riding bicycles. So the pathway is for people riding bicycles. In some countries, the government restricts the internet, so you cannot use Google or Facebook or Instagram or YouTube or the things they use in the West. So some countries restrict the internet. They keep within certain limits. Restriction is a different form of the word. Restriction is the name of a limit. Our school has some restrictions about what students may wear. So they keep it within a limit. They have restrictions. Students can wear t-shirts and jeans. Any color, but it has to be t-shirts and jeans. See, it's restricted, kept within a certain limit. The next word is seldom. Seldom. Seldom has an adverb meaning. You can see here, ADV. An adverb is a word which describes a verb, how something is done. Seldom is something that happens not often. Rarely is a synonym for seldom. Because the sun's rays are so strong, we seldom spend the whole day at the beach. So spend, you spend time, that is the verb. See, seldom describes the verb. We seldom see an eclipse. The next word, let's go back to seldom. What is something that you do seldomly? I seldom eat McDonald's. I try to eat healthy. The next word is stimulate. Now, stimulate has a verb meaning. To stimulate is to make more active. The aroma of black bean soup from the kitchen stimulated my appetite for lunch. So appetite is your wanting to eat, your hunger. So the smell, the aroma of black bean soup stimulated this person's appetite. It made it more active. It makes you more hungry. The smell of fried onions stimulates my appetite. What stimulates your appetite? The smell of delicious food. Have a look at this picture. What do you think it means? TV, books. It means books make your brain, stimulate your brain better. Books offer better stimulation for your brain. The next word is tempest. Tempest is the name of a violent windstorm, usually with snow, rain, or hail. A tempest at sea is a sailor's greatest fear. Tempest, a violent windstorm. Tempestuous, that's tricky. Tempestuous. Tempestuous is a different form of the word with an adjective meaning. We use tempestuous to describe weather, which is stormy and wild. Tempestuous weather. After a tempestuous argument, the two friends agreed to disagree and end the discussion. So after a stormy, wild argument, a tempestuous argument. So wild, stormy argument. So it can be used to describe someone's manner, wild, stormy. It can be used to describe weather or how someone acts. The next word is upbringing. Upbringing is the name of the care and training a child gets while growing up. Did you have a good upbringing? My parents worked very hard to give me and to give my brother and me a wonderful upbringing. So my parents worked very hard to give my brother and me, my brothers and me, a wonderful upbringing. I had a great upbringing. My parents loved me very much. How about you? Do you have a good upbringing? I'm sure. If you're watching this video to learn English, then definitely you have a good upbringing. Friends, and that's it. Today, we spoke about all the words from word list 12. We also discussed their different meanings. Now I want you to go through the words again. Then look at all the different meanings. Make one example of your own for each meaning. So you can write down a sentence where that meaning is used. Do that for practice. Friends, remember to join me next in day 2. For day 2, you can bring along word list 12 and activity 12A. So we'll do that activity in day 2. And that's it, friends. I want you to have a great day and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.